this candle, and that's what takes me out. So I'm not expecting price to do that, and it of course does that. And it stops me out right there. So that's really unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is. Maybe I could have traded this weaker assets here. So it is what it is, though. I'm not really tripped about it. Kind of sucks, but I just went to bed right after that. You could have potentially got in again if you're awake and whatnot, but yeah, it's unfortunate, but it does hit TP. And yeah, man, it is what it is, boys. When you look here as well, there ends up being a 90-minute gap here in price. So you get a new 4-hour candle open, right? You can see that we have closed below that new day open gap, right? Looking for 6 AM continuation. Right, this is C3, here's C4, you also see CSD as well. Within that previous candle's range, you do have an hourly gap. Now, the reason why you would not want to trade this is a like really good. You could trade this over here potentially, but I wouldn't trade this asset here. This is like kind of like a strength switch almost, right? But if you actually look within the 4-hour candle, this is like kind of low probability, but this has like equal lows, which I would still trade this asset, like dead ass. I would 100% still trade this asset, 100%. Here's kind of why. This is what happened here. So the reason why you want to trade this asset is because close trend's obviously overall weaker, right? And the reason why you don't want to trade this asset is because it's really low range. The next target is really far, right? Like this low right here on silver is what gold is trading into right now. So you want to trade this asset here, 100%, right? You can even see like the lower time frame signatures is a lot better on this asset. It's because it's actually weaker, you know. So you want to trade this asset 100% to this low, and the reason why you don't want to trade this asset is because it's at the end of a 4-hour candle that is an expansion candle, right? So if you think about a candle's ADR, right? Look at this candle's range. It's very, very large. Do you see that? Very, very large candles. And then when they hit objectives, look what we do, especially with the space S&T. You're going to get another phase of price. So this phase of price that you just got right here, right, was just to get this low, right? So when you get this low, what are you going to get? A new phase of price. And then what do you have over here, basically? You're entering super low on the range, right? So this next 4-hour candle opens up right here, and it's just going to take you out. You know what I'm saying? So that stuff is like really advanced, though. Like honestly, it's pretty advanced stuff to understand that. But that's why you would not want to trade like continuation in this candle. You thinking that this is a 2-stage SMT that's going to hold or something. You have to view it like it did its job, and it's very low probability. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Why you would trade this asset here and this SMT here is really just to get this low. When you get this low, literally the next hourly candle is a new 4-hour candle. Yeah, like you're gonna get new phase of price likely, right? But yeah, so that's a reason that you could have maybe not traded this asset and you would have traded this asset, right? It's obviously closer to the draw. And you wouldn't trade like candle 3 here, right? Candle 3 here, because the new 4-hour candle just opened up. And you're likely to get a new phase of price, to be honest, at this low. So that's just something there. But when you zoom out here on the 90-minute time frame, like I said, you're gonna see gaps where you don't see gaps on the lower time frame. So you don't really see a gap on the hourly time frame, but then you do on the 90-minute time frame here. So ideally you want to see a strength switch here or a failure to manipulate. Now you can see there is a slight switch in strength. It's not in the form of a PSP, but you can see the body size here. Look at the body size here. See how small it is compared to this asset? Very large. And this asset took the low. So here you just have a sequential SMT with a gap. You wouldn't trade within this candle because it has a large wick. Right? You ideally want to wait for C3, right? So that's a potential entry in there, but I don't trade at that time really. So let's look within here. It's not really the best looking reversal though. Let's see if these assets like, yeah, I probably would not trade that honestly, but let's see up in here. So here you have like a gap in price, but there's no SMT fill. I'm not so sure I would trade anything in there. Probably not. Okay, so you do have SMT here, actually. Here, I suppose. But at this point, you already took the low down here. I probably want to trade the lag asset, but anyways, probably nothing there. I'm going over shit that I didn't even take. But yeah, that was my trade on silver, guys. Enough yapping about that. I just be yapping for real, but I just like to go over price a little bit. But what else? What else? So RTY. So check this out here. So this absolutely makes sense. Coming back into the range after multiple expansion candles into all-time highs. We actually create SMT with all-time highs as well, right? So this 100% makes sense to retrace into this gap, right? But you're going to see that YM actually traded into the gap first. So if I play price, and when you look at this reverse candle, by the way, it's a consolidation, right? 100%, like obviously consolidation. But as you see here, we hit the consolidation low at around 6 a.m. Then the 6 a.m. candle, right? And that created an SMT right here. Right, so look at all these lows. All these lows, right? This is why I took RTY, bunch of lows here. Now, the high of day was not formed for anything relevant. It does open high first, though. It has a small wick, so we can definitely get here. We're not trading the reversal at the high of day because it doesn't trade into anything, right? It's literally just consolidation, basically. Right? Look, all these highs, nothing relevant at all. So we would trade continuation. We have to wait for price to expand with my high of day, create a gap, and whatnot. So this here, trading to this low right here, and just creating SMT overall, and it failing to reverse from it is just an additional confirmation, right? So if I go to the 30 minutes here, you can see that failure to manipulate in the form of a consolidation candle, which is an inside bar. So price trades into the low. This is the candle, I do believe, that creates the SMT, yes. This is the candle here that trades into the weekly gap on YM, right? So it's creating SMT there. And we just consolidate, right? You can see this is a consolidation candle, right? Which creates a gap. So you essentially have expansion consolidation, which is a failure to manipulate, which means that you should continue, right? But ideally, we want to do what? We want to manipulate and then expand, right? So expansion, consolidation, manipulation with the gap, creating SMT, and we're going to go low, right? So you don't need a strength switch to trade SMT break if you get a fail to manipulate signature, right? This is on my YouTube video, my last YouTube video on asset sync. So this is also the key level within the previous 4 candles range. If we just mark out EQ here, in the lower half of that previous 4 expansion candle, this is the only key level that resides within that, right? So that's good there. Then all I need to see is an SMT with a gap and a continuous and signature, right? This just leads me to believe that YM will continue, create new lows, right? This is also just the previous 4-hour candle low. Obviously, we would assume that YM could probably get there because what are we closer to, right? Are we closer to the previous candle's low or the previous candle's high, right? Obviously, the previous candle's low. So YM has a reason to continue lower. And yeah, it's pretty simple logic, right? Just a failure to manipulate signature. When I go to lower time frame, like the 3 minutes here, you get this close, and I'm pretty much good, right? You can see over here, YM is already starting to expand, but I don't have a target for YM, so I'm gonna have to trade that lagging asset pretty much, right? So this is what I take here, all the way to this low. And yeah, it's a pretty clean trade. It does go a little bit further, but I don't care about that. I don't really care to anticipate that. I'm just trading to the low resistance lows, right? When you have low resistance lows like this or any type of low resistance targets, it's very, very, very nice to have as a target. Makes your trade like so much more high probability. But here's my executions right here. To the low. And yeah, it's just a simple little trade, man. There's nothing really to go over. Um, yeah, those are my 2 trades that I took today. A lot of yapping, but when you look at this consolidation, right, we just have a pretty much inside barring between 2 candles, right? Consolidation. You can have an internal consolidation. So you print a reversal candle, but there's no reversal within it really. So it's either you print an internal reversal, which is obviously less probable, or you take out the high to resweep it. Ideally, this is what you do, honestly, is you take out the high. But when you look in here, this is your internal consolidation. This is your internal 2-stage. That's what you have to have. Is it an internal 2-stage SMT? And the weekly, the profile to support it ideally, right? So when you look at this profile, what does it do? Open side first, creates SMT between Friday and Monday's candle, and then the second stage SMT between Monday and Tuesday's candle, and we expand away, right? Closing through these opposing candles. So now it's simple, right? You can assume that we would gravitate towards the low of the range first. That's what you're going to assume, right? As long as you respect EQ here. So you see what we're doing? You can still trade within this consolidation, and it makes sense that we can get a new phase of price, right? It's a weekly gap, you know? It's essentially just a C3 expansion. So when you like leave a consolidation like this, right, it's typically just a higher temper retracement. That's what MXM is, guys. It's just like expansion. Price does essentially, you know, reverse from consolidation, but it's typically just a higher time frame retracement is really what it is, right? So here's like your original consolidation, accumulation phase 1 or 2, whatever, right? Smart money reversal into a key level, and then we continue higher, right? But that's typically what it is. So when you see that happen, like when price does reverse consolidation at the high of range, typically what it is, it's just the start of a retracement or whatnot. But yeah, this is the logic to trade internal to that, right? Internal 2-stage SMT, wait for price to expand away. What does it do? Create gaps in price. Now here, it would have been a valid, you know, short from this gap if you want to trade the high of day, but you can't trade the high of day because it doesn't really trade into anything relevant. If you go to 6 hour, it technically does, but still, it's not valid. Like you can't trade the reversal up in here because there's really not much of a reverse signature. I don't. Yeah, there's definitely not, dude. There's definitely not. So you have an SMT fill here, but it's just consolidation. So I'll show you the SMT fill. So you guys see right here is SMT fill, right there, but it's still very, very low probable because YM is just still consolidating. So I don't really like to trade assets, like one asset if it's trading to a key level and reversing, but the other asset is just in consolidation. I like to do what, guys? I like to wait for the consolidation or one of the assets that in the consolidation to actually expand away, and then I'll look to trade the lagging asset. Like that's what I did the other day. We were in consolidation. I just let the assets consolidation just hit one of the opposing sides of the range. There's only 2 things can happen. The SMT will break. You'll trade lagging asset to that, or you'll manipulate consolidation and then trade higher. Like it's pretty simple, right? So ideally, you want to wait for the consolidation to break out, and that's essentially what I did here, right? Although you do have this internal 2-stage here on the daily, it's not like I'm trading it. I didn't trade it. You know, we can just see like why it went to this low. This is all it is, you know. But anyways, enough yapping. That's it for my 2 trades today. And yeah, we'll do a stream tomorrow, guys. We have to do it tomorrow. Yeah, otherwise we're gonna have to wait till like next week. But I don't want to have you guys wait because you guys have already been waiting for a little bit since I was sick. But yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Y'all have a good one, and I'll see you tomorrow.